everybody. Thanks for coming out on this Thursday night.
Special edition.
Special edition, so don't get used to it.
Playoff football edition.
Wild card, and we got one in the house that's a Cowboy fan, and we need to clear it up right away. Fred is not a fan of Cowboy fans.
Yeah. I like the Cowboys, but not the fans.
We get that out of the way early.
Exactly.
Anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. It's going to be a great night. We got a lot going on. Stick around because there's a toilet seat up for grab and music bingo at 8:30. That was last week's prize. I was just kidding. It's going to get better. I think you get the rest of the toilet this week.
Is it flushed?
It doesn't flush.
All right. So anyway,
No coordinated answer.
over here, raffle prizes. 2 free tickets for everybody. Come on up, see Henry and Emily. Get a picture with them. It's their last night.
Yeah.
Free tickets?
2 free
It's
tickets.
their last night. So if you want to buy them a drink, feel free. They're heading to Florida, so no sympathy here.
No crying on the podcast either.
All right, I want to welcome our guest, Arkansas Fred Barnett. Having a big hand.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Played for our Birds for a number of years. Caught that unbelievable catch from Randall. A lot of history there. We're going to dig into it. So get your questions and comments ready. We got some great trivia. We got a new wrinkle tonight on the trivia prizes. Always thinking up something different. So, Johnny, what do you got?
Well, I'm a little nervous, so I'm not going to lie about this week's playoff game.
Come on, Johnny.
But
you're not playing, Johnny.
no, I know I'm not playing, but still, it's a strange feeling for Philadelphia fans. You're a 10-1 team, and now you're 11-16 going into the playoffs, and so that luster is just like lost. A little bit.
You just mentioned you're like, can they turn it on?
Right.
And my answer was they turned it off.
They turned it off.
So they should be able to turn it back on.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll come away with a win. It's a team that we're supposed to beat. We know that much.
It is, but it's just the way the defense has been playing. It's true. We should have beat the Cardinals, right? We should have beat the Giants. We should have beaten the Seahawks. So it's not a should have game, right? You actually physically got to play it. I don't know. I just didn't like the way that the team was talking. That they're just holding it off, and we made the playoffs 4 or 5 weeks ago, and then we're just getting ready to play the playoffs.
It's painful.
Right.
It's actually painful. The interesting thing about it is that we feel that something is going on.
Right.
I can remember when I played, and there were some games losses that were lost here and there. I was in the meeting rooms. I was on the practice field. I, saw the tension and felt the tension between players. I felt the tension between coaches and players and what have you. And then I would hear the perspective from the fans who weren't on the field and who weren't in the meeting rooms. And they had their own perspective, had their own thoughts about what was going on. And I say that to say, we know that there's something going on. We just don't know what's going on because we're not in those meeting rooms. We're not on those practice fields to really see what's going on. But obviously, there's something there. It's interesting to see Hurts, right before the game, get everybody, all riled up. He's, he has everybody in the huddle, in the circle. He's screaming, and then, by the middle of the first quarter, everybody just has a stone face.
Right.
So it's just interesting to see that. And I think obviously there's something going on. And even when we look at, to be specific, I think one thing that's kind of, I don't want to say kind of not in place, but that's not in place are the coordinators that we had last year that, of course, that went to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. And of course, we all as fans, and I don't want to say any of the players have been complaining about them, But I think we all as fans have seen the coordinators not, call plays up to par. So I think that could be a problem, and I think we probably will see a change there. Sirianni, I'm not sure.
Right.
But I think it's unfortunate the Dallas Goedert comments.
Yeah, but he's not the only one that said it.
True.
And so here's you would know from inside the locker room, you hear what perspective. But you got like Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson,
Yeah.
Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, kind of on their way out.
Yeah.
And then you hear like a Dallas Goedert speaking his way. Do you think that leadership is being fought against a little bit as far as because Jason Kelsey wouldn't have been like, yeah, we're in the playoffs, we sit out in the next 6 weeks, not play.
I mean, it's hard to say, and it's interesting because I think we would all like to hear from Graham and Kelsey about their perspective and what they feel needs to happen.
Yeah.
And nobody's just not saying anything, with enough substance to give us an idea on what changes need to be made.
Right.
And sometimes when there's business to be taken care of, you do it in the boardroom. Sometimes that should be between the teams. So we're just on the outside looking in. Hopefully we'll be looking in after next week
With another win.
with another win. So we'll see what happens. They supposed to be Tampa Bay. They're the better team, but it's could be a heads or tails situation.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, just seeing Mike Evans and Ridley,
Mike Evans
they're not really the other.
But they still have Baker Mayfield.
That's true. Yeah, he'll give you the ball. He'll definitely give you the ball.
Give you the ball.
Right. Yeah, we
We'll
just
see
got
what
to
happens.
as long as we're not putting Reddick in pass coverage and you let him attack, he'll give us the
Tell
ball.
me about it.
Do we put too much as fans, strictly fans now? Because every year it's bad coordinators. These coordinators aren't doing their job. Go back to last year, right? I mean, we heard it all year. And here you go. You lose your two coordinators and they get head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
So who's right or wrong here? What are we not seeing that everybody else is? And here's Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator this year, and he's already got 2 interviews lined up.
I don't see what they see in Brian Johnson. But when we look at no disrespect, but I see the play calling, and I could have a defense to stop.
You're as befuddled as we are, right?
So when of course we just mentioned when we have two coordinators that go to the Super Bowl, the year before, I think we should have done everything that we needed to do to keep those guys. But at the same time, too, those guys have a right to go after what they dream of, of course, becoming a head coach, and that's kind of what you do it for, or at least some of the coaches do it for. And it was unfortunate for us. I actually believe that if we had those 2 coordinators, probably would be a little different right now.
Most definitely.
But at the same time, too, what's confusing is that what is it? What put us in this lane initially to go 10-1, and then all of a sudden, as we mentioned, just the lights just go out. And we're just wandering around a dark room every game. And not that we're playing teams that we don't supposed to be. We're playing teams that we're supposed to be.
Right.
You're talking about Arizona. You're talking about the Giants. Everybody's supposed to beat the Giants.
Right.
I mean, Seattle was a tough one. They were in Seattle. But, we're talking about a play or 2 away.
Yeah, you're leading with a minute 20 left in the game, and
A
you
play
let
or
go
2.
92 yards.
Exactly, a play or 2 away. And it becomes speculative of the defensive backs and their ability to, hold coverage as well. So, from a coordinator standpoint, I think that's probably one of the problems that's going to get dealt with, right after, the season is done.
How much of it do you think is Howie a little bit as well, as far as picking these younger guys that don't have the experience that he can kind of control a little bit?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't know. It's hard to say. And at the same time too, I keep going back to the fact that we started 10-1.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And, being 10-1, of course, everybody's calling Howard a genius.
Yep.
Everybody's, fond of the coordinators, and all of a sudden just hit the wall. And now somebody has to be blamed, or there's something going on, or someone's going on.
Right.
So I think the Eagles know exactly what's going on, and I think if it was fixable, it would have been fixed.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not fixed yet. So
Right.
hopefully it's not bad enough to, go into the playoffs, with some sort of, vigor to say, hey, look, let's just at least, do what we're supposed to do here until we get to somebody and we fizzle out.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's to say.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough, yeah.
All right, we could sit up here and ask questions all night, but how about you guys? You got questions, comments? Let's hear what you got to say, and let's throw it against the wall and hear Mr. Barnett what his response would be. Put your hand up. We'll get a mic to you. Love to hear these questions from everybody here. There's Shawnee. He got a hand up.
Shawnee?
Fred, well, first question, are you available Monday?
Are you available Monday?
I'm available, but I can't play. I'm in my suit right now.
So
I wish I could.
The question I had, you guys alluded to a little bit with the Dallas Cowboys comment. Does that exist in players' mentality when you play, like, you clinch a playoff spot and then you just kind of coast the rest of the way without, clinching the division or getting the first seed and whatnot?
Ask the question again, I'm sorry.
When you were playing, would that have existed, that you clinched it and then you guys would have coasted?
Oh, gosh, no. I mean, the one player that comes to mind is Seth Joyner. And Seth was the type of leader that held everyone accountable, and I think, we kind of alluded to this situation earlier, and that, when the team is down, who is that one person that's going to, get in everybody's face, and pull everybody up by the collar and say, hey, let's get it together. And we're just not seeing that. And I think that for me is confusing, because we have all these leaders, all these guys who has tenure on the team, who's been in the league for 12, 15 years. And some guys, it's their last, season here. They could go on and play somewhere else, but, I'm not sure if it's, a sign of the time for the players. There is a certain type of player that's in the NFL today that's different than the players that, when I played. And we talk about that a lot, on how, players are just different today. Although, of course, they're professional players, but it's a different temperament today. I think one thing that too comes to mind, I think Hargrove, who went to went to San Francisco. He made a statement that San Francisco's practices were way harder than the Eagles' practices. On my podcast, we talked about that. We talked about some of the injuries, some of the soft tissue injuries that guys were having, and we've gone to a lot of the training camps and just saw everybody just kind of just bouncing around like it's a picnic. And our training camps, dude, you had to make the team on training camp. I've seen guys get cut during training camp, and we hit at least twice a week. At least once a week, we had 3 practices. And it got to a point where the games were easier. We were just looking forward to the season because the games were easier. But training camp was, you know what? And it's. I think guys now have a different mindset and a different temperament, a different tempo. And it turns out that the Super Bowl winner this year, in the years to come, in my opinion, will be those teams that have a closer mindset to the old teams. to the teams in the 90s that are, the teams that are going to, strap them up, and want to get money.
Absolutely.
Any more questions out there? Lauren's got the mic. We'll spread it around the room. A lot of good conversation, so let's spread it around. Jason, you got a comment?
We have a question real quick.
All right, go ahead.
To Jason.
Hi, Fred. Thanks for running tonight.
Pleasure.
Appreciate everything. You were one of my favorite agents.
Appreciate it.
So, I was in high school with you guys, before you got hired. So it was a lot of fun watching you guys. I guess my real question is, like, playing with Brandon.
Yes.
It seemed like you guys had some continuity there. Like what was it like playing with him? Like, he would scramble. Did you just break off your patterns? Because it seemed, you made it, obviously, the 99-yard touchdown, one thing. It just seemed like, I actually watched the Saints playoff game when you guys beat Bobby Ager. It just seemed like you broke off patterns a lot. Like you just had some kind of chemistry that I haven't seen, other than maybe McNabb and T.O.
Well, Randall and I, during the off season, we would work out in Arizona every summer, and with every pattern, we always created a way out. We always created a window, and that window was me doing one thing or another. I can't remember exactly what those things were, but every route, if he's not sacked, everything always is alive. It's alive until it's dead. I mean, when I think about the Buffalo play, he was close to being sacked. He got out, and he found me. And that was a situation where we didn't work specifically on that, but we understand. He and I understood, and the other receivers understood. If he's not down, that we're to do what we need to do to get open. And there were certain things that we did based on certain routes that we ran. When I run a dig route, actually when I'm talking about the Buffalo game, the play in Buffalo, I had a dig route, which is a deep end route. And when I run that deep end route and I see he's in trouble, I'm to go deep. And that's exactly what I did. And of course, 95 yards later and 33 years later, we're still talking about that play. So, I think there's a lot of continuity that quarterbacks and wide receivers, have to have, especially when you're in trouble, because, you're always going to be in trouble. You're going to have an edge rush. You're going to have somebody miss a block here and there. But at the same time, too, I think it's up to the quarterback and wide receivers to, get together, with the coordinators and see exactly how they can, of course, keep the plays alive. And that's something that Randall and I did we didn't do it our first year, so I would say about 5 years we went to Arizona. Me and wide receivers, we went to Arizona and we worked on a lot of different adjustments that we needed to make during route running.
How special is it as a wide receiver to have a quarterback like Randall that he can out overthrow you, or you can't outrun him?
I can't. Yeah. Oh, it's very special. I mean, this guy is almost phenomenal. I mean, we would have bets sometimes that he would have to take a 7-step drop, and I would take off. And there were a couple of times he would overthrow me, and sometimes he couldn't. And
okay.
Yeah, he had a very, very strong.
Oh yeah,
very strong.
It was like effortless to wait.
Very strong.
Yeah.
70 yards was nothing for him to go.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right, so Jason said he didn't have a question. You were just picking on him.
He's scared.
He's scared. He's scared. He's scared. We called him out already. He's scared.
So I have a question. Leading into Monday night's game, if you had a chance to talk to the team, what would be your message to them? Because I hear two different things. I listened to Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast on my drive down today, and Jason's sort of talking about how it's playoff football, everything sort of resets, and we're going to get everything fixed. But then just a little while ago, you said if they could get everything fixed, they would have. So, what would be your message to the team Monday night to kind of fire them up and actually make it past this first round?
One thing that I did, especially when I felt like I was struggling, I would look within myself and find reasons to win. And what is it that I have pride in? Number one, I have pride in myself. I have pride for my family. I have pride for my team. And I would literally look within myself and say, what is it? Give me a reason to go out and do what I need to do. Now, I know a lot of fans are probably hearing me say this and say, it's just football. You're supposed to go out, you prepare to go out and do what you do. You work, you practice and you do. It's still something that we really have to get ourselves prepared for. And I think more so mentally than anything else, especially when you're in a position like they're in that, collectively they've been losing. There have been winners during these losses. There are certain guys who have played well and they still lost,
Right.
but collectively as a team, they lost. Now, what happens is there have been more losers during these losses than winners on the team. So those losers need to look at themselves and say, hey, what is it that I need to do? You know what, here's a chance right now, as we talked about a minute ago, to turn the switch back on. We've had it off for the past 4 or 5 weeks. Let's turn the damn thing back on and let's make it happen.
Is it that easy?
For me it was. And I say that to say because there are times when I had to look in the mirror and say, hey, look, you need to get it together and let's turn this thing on. And I think inevitably those are the type of players, those are the type of athletes that Philadelphia fans look for.
Mhm.
Not the guys who when they don't have success and the fans are like on them and they just give up. When the fans got on me for screwing up, I looked at myself and said, hey, I need to make these guys proud. I mean, we got 70,000 people in the stands that are rooting for them playing against the daggone Cardinals, and they let them down.
But do you think that accountability factor is still there?
Well, the thing is that, first of all, the one person that holds you accountable the most is yourself. So collectively, I think each one of those guys individually need to look at themselves and hold themselves accountable, and then reach out to everybody else, and then link arms and go from there.
I think that's probably the biggest thing that they're missing. I feel like if they don't win, if they don't produce, maybe we'll get.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on everybody's face.
You
Everybody
see
just has this look like they put something in their Gatorade or something. Like,
Yeah.
check this Gatorade. Put something in it or something. I don't know.
Do you think that 10-1 record wasn't an accurate representation of the talent on that team?
Yes, because it was a reality, and maybe it's they could have lost two or three more, but they didn't, and that's reality. So I'm not going to be successful and start to decline and look back at my success and say that wasn't a success. It was success. And it in my opinion, that you should take that and say, hey, look, if I did it then, I can do it now. Regardless if I was close to losing games and I won. Heck, I could be close to losing this Tampa Bay game and I can win.
Right. Yeah.
It kind of tries to take a team and make it one. And when you got enough guys thinking with the right mindset, it becomes that one person or that one thing that does it, that succeeds.
And you're probably the wrong person to ask them, because you did, like you said, look at yourself in the mirror and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you're hearing a Dallas Goedert type of person coming out and saying, we'll be okay. They have that almost feeling of it is what it is, type of thing, and they don't have that inner ability to look at themselves and be like,
well, it's hard for me to comment on what an individual is thinking. I think as a leader, if I was a leader on this team, if I was a number one wide receiver, I'd pull Dallas aside and say, look, we can't dig that hole.
right.
You can't dig that hole. We don't need you to dig that hole because Dallas is a great player. And the thing is that it's just like anything else that's infectious. When you catch it, I give it to you, you give it to me, and all of a sudden everybody's just looking like what are we doing here?
Right.
But at the same time too, when you have a positive outcome or not outcome, but a positive mindset or a positive approach on it, or an aggressive approach to be successful, that could bleed as well, and that could be infectious as well.
What, let's dig into the game plan for Monday night. How do we come out and how do we approach this game?
First thing we need to know, I know Todd Bowles is going to blitz the hell out of the Eagles. So, I've watched the past 2 or 3 games where there were blitzes and there were no hot routes. And when they're blitzed, there always should be side adjustments. And I watched actually the Giants game where Hurst dropped back and there was a corner blitz and everybody was just running down the field. And there was a time when the linebacker that faked the blitz, he dropped back looking for somebody to be a hot route, and there was nobody there. So that is coordinated. That's the coordinator's, and that's his responsibility.
Right.
Well, I think I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think that the stage was set by Bosa in the San Fran game. You know what I mean? With this type of defense to chase Jalen. You shut him down, you shut the offense down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And the thing is that, every defense, you're going to have your struggles against defense. It's really just taking advantage of what they give you.
Right.
And I feel like Tampa Bay is going to do a lot of blitzing. They're going to try to confuse him on offense. And I feel like Tampa Bay, I feel like they don't win. They don't feel that they can win this game from an offensive standpoint. They feel like they can win it from a defensive standpoint because they feel like they can disrupt what the Eagles are doing and get them to possibly turn the ball over and win the game that way. Baker Mayfield, he may throw a touchdown here or there. They shouldn't score no more than 13 points offensively. But I think that defensively they really want to win this game. With their defense.
Yeah, that's the one good thing Tampa has been struggling offensively. They scored 9 points against Carolina in a game that they needed to win.
Exactly.
Even though they got Godwin and Evans and they get Rashad White coming back. So it'll be interesting to see. It's just this defense for the Eagles. Buddy Ryan's got to be turning over the tree.
Oh goodness! I mean, Seth right now. Seth is cursing. They kicking him off TV. He's cursing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
what the hell have we got, man? I feel him because I've been on the field with him, and defenses should be aggressive. That's what it's about. Disrupting. It's about disrupting what people are doing and making them change what they're doing, and just instead of just sitting back and just allowing people to do offense to do what they need to do. And even when I look at the defensive backfield, it's hard for a great defensive back to cover a guy 5-6 seconds. It's hard for our guys to cover a guy 3-4 seconds.
Right.
To tell you the truth.
Oh,
and if you don't have no rushing quarterback, and if he's standing back there, it's going to be a party for that offense. I'm surprised that I mean, speaking of Dallas, I'm surprised that we beat Dallas.
Right. The first game in.
With the time that Dak Prescott had to throw the ball, and CeeDee Lamb, he had a great game. But they were close, winning that game. Or close to, losing that game.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just weird how the Eagles play not to lose. As far as on defense, they don't want that explosive play, but they'll give up 100, get slashed 100 times and give up a 10-yard drive, and score instead of a 3-yard 3-play drive.
I'll tell you, the one thing that they figured out the tush push.
Yes.
They can get 1 yard.
They can.
They will win the Super Bowl getting 1 yard.
Oh yeah.
They're 99%.
Yeah. Exactly.
4th and 1, they can do that.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
They can do that.
All right. here goes a new round of trivia. We're going to spike up the interest with a round of trivia. So we got some awesome trivia prizes, but they're mystery envelopes, so you don't know what you're getting.
Oh,
So there's some really good autographs in there. We're talking about Brandon Graham. We're talking about Chuck Bednarik. We're talking a lot of good autographs. If anybody pays attention to my page in the morning, and Lauren's reposted it a few times,
It's all over.
there's some good stuff.
Yeah, I think Robert missed those.
Yeah, well, he's friends with the Cowboy fans. So.
All right, but as a reminder, you first want to put their hand up. So don't just yell out the answer.
Yeah.
First want to put their hand up, and I'll bring the mic to you.
Yep. Anyway, raffle prizes. Come on, dig in. There's some great prizes up here. We're going to give them away tonight. Probably around 8:15-ish, kind of. So dig in, get your free ones. They're $1 a piece. There's a lot of great stuff up here, and we want everybody to be happy and go home a winner. So you got to play to win, right, Em? Isn't that the deal? You got to play to win, right? Trivia time.
All right. In what year did Fred Barnett make the Pro Bowl?
He shouldn't be allowed to play because he's an Eagles
He's an
employee.
employee.
So
He's an employee.
I'm just making.
Info sheets.
I'm just
First one to raise their hand.
I'm just making shit up.
1992 is correct.
All right.
Yay.
I had a couple other ones, but you gave them away. The 95-yard touchdown pass.
Also, if he gets an info sheet on every guy he memorizes them, then he deserves to win.
They're study sheets.
Yeah.
All right. How many touchdowns does Fred Barnett have in his career?
I don't even know that.
32.
That is correct.
I think he's on to your questions.
Yeah.
Who knows that?
You can only win one anyway, Tommy. Don't get too aggressive. We'll shut you down real fast.
All right, we got to talk about this one in a little bit as well. Who was drafted higher, Fred Barnett or his cousin Tim Barnett?
Ooh, look at all them arms. Shoo! You guys.
Wow.
Tim?
No respect to you. No, that is incorrect.
Well, that's,
That is correct. That is correct.
All right.
How interesting is that you and your cousin both in the third round, number 77?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was cool. I was the year before him.
Yep. Paved the way for him.
Paved the way for him.
There you go. All right. And other than 86, what number did Fred Barnett wear?
Oh, I think he got you in the back.
yeah.
80.
80 is correct. 80 is correct. Ooh, we got another one here. Fred
He's
wants
putting
to,
his arm up. The question's not even out yet.
That's a new strategy.
Is that in? Yeah.
It's new.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
all right. So in preseason, before Fred Barnett got 86, for the Eagles, what number did he wear? Oh, look at this.
I mean, he was happy with the question, so we're just.
I know. I didn't even like get them out.
17.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Alright.
Good job. Wow.
We got one left.
One left. All right.
What's my social security number?
Hey, you'd be surprised at least it's not.
So we start screaming that out, I'm out of here. With my wallet.
All right. Fred Barnett coached in the XFL for what team?
Okay, y'all must have gave him a cheat sheet.
Is he in the kitchen?
Well, I'm sorry.
Memphis Maniacs.
Yeah.
It is correct.
There's no way they just do all this.
Well, we've been doing this for a little while, so they know to check up on Wikipedia. Yeah, they get their study sheets.
They got study sheets.
You didn't know they're called cheat sheets.
Yeah,
Johnny, I just think they're on to your trivia.
they may be on to it.
I think they are.
I don't think they would have gotten the 95-yard run.
What was the question?
You're against the Bills. How long the touchdown pass
Oh,
was?
they would've.
You would have that, but you already.
That was on the info sheet.
That
Eagles
was,
pass.
that was.
That was
All right.
that was the deal.
All right. Again, I want to thank our host, Jimmy Clark. He had a great question earlier about Randall and Fred and, their ability to make plays. Jimmy, I don't know, we've been doing this a couple of years now, and we appreciate you having us back again. Happy New Year to everybody here at Hanrahan's. We love doing it. I believe our date next month is going to be February 7th.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
I didn't screw that up.
Nope, you're
You want
good.
to be here on Valentine's Day?
I didn't think, no.
Somebody may have had it. Somebody may have had a
You
problem
wanted
with
to be here on Valentine's Day either.
You had an AJ Brown signing on my wedding anniversary, so I
Oh
didn't
my
think any of that mattered.
That's true.
We don't check the calendar around here.
It was winter go home, so.
All right.
You up for the Mattis Minute? Is that what's brewing?
Yeah.
Have you talked to Fred about this yet?
I'm going to right
All
now. So
right.
I have a series of 10 questions. Some of them are football related, some of them aren't. We basically just want the first answer that comes to your mind.
Uh-oh.
It'll be good.
I'm nervous already.
Do you miss Veteran Stadium a lot, a
Hell
little,
no.
or not one part bit?
Not at all. That hurts. It hurts my knees saying that.
Just saying it.
Which NFL quarterback that you played with was the best pure passer?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah.
Jim McMahon.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
If you can only pick one, cheesesteak, chicken wings, or a salad.
Oh, chicken wings. All day. As a matter of fact, give me 2 orders of the
The Hollis Thomas special.
Hollis special.
Did you play any Taylor Swift songs in the car on your way here from Pennsauken tonight?
No.
I felt like there was a word before that.
There was a word before that.
I'm getting,
Freak, no.
I'm getting a little concerned about Bill Mattis with his comments because Taylor Swift always
He
comes
comes up a
up.
lot.
He has some kind of little.
I think it's keeping us relevant. Keeping us relevant. What is your favorite breed of dogs?
Barney Doodles.
Okay.
I have 2. Yes.
Was there one defensive back who always gave you the most trouble?
Ron Woodson.
There you go.
When visiting Italy last month, did you happen to see the town of Corleone?
I did not.
When you played for Miami, did Jimmy Johnson ever trash talk Buddy Ryan to you?
Yes.
Do you and Bill Burby ever go back to see Arkansas State football games together?
Not together, but I have my. Oh, it's the one word answer.
No.
Stories
No, not
like
together.
that.
Not together.
Yeah. On your trips to Bermuda, do you ever go through the Bermuda Triangle just to see if you can make it?
I live in it. I live in a triangle.
There you go.
We've got a special edition of the Madison. This is specifically for John and my dad.
Uh-oh.
Of your interns, who will you miss more, Emily or Henry?
Whoa. All right, it's easy for me. I'm going in.
Hands or tails.
I'm going in. Henry can be replaced.
All right, that's fair
No,
enough. John?
I thought I was going to be the harsh one. I agree with you. I thought you were all with the Henry there.
All right, yeah. All right, and that's the Madison Minute.
And I think the way the fantasy football has been going, I think Emily's leaving Henry home anyway. I'm not sure.
Hey, let's reel this back in. Let's talk about this Jimmy Johnson,
Buddy Ryan.
Buddy Ryan.
I'm not. Okay.
Come on, give us some.
I can't do it.
Come on. Just a
It
little
wasn't
snippet.
much. It
Just a
wasn't
little
much.
snippet.
I mean,
Come
what-
on.
Buddy Ryan lost a little bit of weight. His butt was looking good, he said, right?
Yeah, he called him fat, you know what? You know what? There were some games, man, where, you know, Buddy, whew,
He got Philly.
oh God, he was Philadelphia.
Yes.
I mean, and you know, of course, he was a defensive-minded coach, and it just bled into guys like myself who, you know, I didn't consider myself this, you know, just fluent wide receiver. I was like a physical guy. I loved the block, and he loved that about me, and that's one of the reasons that he really liked me, because I was very physical. Of course, I could, you know, made catches here and there as well. But Buddy was a coach that, you know, he was a player's coach, and he was the type of coach that players would love to play for, and you have to have a certain mentality to play for him.
Right.
And there are other coaches who just hated him. Other coaches, and he didn't care.
And he didn't care.
He did not care. And he made a joke out of it. And of course, Jimmy Johnson and Buddy was one of the two rivalries. You know, Jimmy was with Dallas, and you know, we put bounties on the kickers and all that stuff. But I'm not going to go into depth on some of the stuff that we talked about. I don't want it to get out there.
They were all clean shots. They were
Clean shot.
Clean shots.
All legal. Nothing illegal.
You talked a lot about Seth Joyner, and
Yeah.
I know this whole room pays close attention to Seth a lot
Yeah.
because, you know, he bleeds. You know, he
Yeah.
bleeds Eagles football.
Of course.
You know, and you listen to his comments. Do you feel Buddy in a lot of those comments?
For sure. Bud Carson, you know, those guys who basically, you know, raised Seth as a player, you know, and taught him to be, you know, the all pro, in my opinion, at some point, you know, Hall of Famer guy. You know, that the attitude, the wherewithal to know exactly what needs to be done on the field, the mental part of the game, the physical part of the game, you know, being intimidating. I know, you know, Seth had every part of being, you know, a great linebacker. I can remember my first year. I was in training camp in of course, Westchester, and I can remember having success early in training camp. You know, beat Eric Allen on some routes, Isaiah Jenkins, beat some of the guys on some routes, and just, you know, kind of put myself in position to be on the field. So they started moving me around. They put me in a slot, and when they put me in a slot, they put Seth over me, and so it's Seth and I'm running a corner route. So I'm like, there's no way in the hell I'm going to let a linebacker cover me on a corner route. I knew it was a man coverage because the other corner didn't come over. So it's me, Seth, on the corner route. So I'm thinking it's possibly zone coverage, but it turned out to be man coverage. It was me, Seth, and I on a corner route, because I'm watching the safety, and I'm like, it's one safety. So I'm sitting there reading the defense. I'm like, oh, it's you and me on the corner route? You're done. And I go into the route. I swim him outside. I get upfield about 15, almost 17 yards, and I stick my route. And I'm just waiting for the ball. And I'm looking in the air and I look, and he's right next to me. And he says, "You thought you were open," as we were running. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, and for me, and that was just a few practices in. And for me, it was me. For me, it was like, this guy would not only take your head off, he would run with you, and he could cover you. So you're talking about an all-around guy. You're talking about a guy who had every facet of the game just locked down. So with that being said, you know, he's going to be that type of guy who's going to just tell the truth and tell it like it is. You know, when he sees what's happening on the field, and he really can't help himself. You know, when he sees it, he's like, this is ridiculous. You know, and he said it a number of times. He talked about the offense a number of times, of course. And there were times when we struggled as offense. You know, and you would think that, you know, the offense would come to get. Seth was over in our huddle on the sideline, like, what the hell are you guys doing? You know, so, you know, that, you know, in itself is leadership as a team. Not just, hey, we're on defense and we're you guys on offense. You take care of offense, I'll take care of defense. Like, no, this is one team. And there were a number of times where, our offensive coordinator was telling Seth to get out of our huddle. And he's like, hey, get it together.
Right.
Because this was when, they had the number one defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I remember Calvin Williams and I looked back at our schedule, and I think if we had averaged like 17 points, we probably would have lost the game. That's how good that defense was.
Right. Oh yeah.
So, and at the same time too, that's the level of accountability we had, not necessarily offensively, but as a team, from a team perspective, a guy on defense and our offensive huddle saying, hey, you guys need to get it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
What do you got?
Reggie White. How was he as a teammate?
Oh, he was amazing. He was amazing. Reggie and I actually had the same agent. So he kind of took me under his wing when I first got to Philadelphia. But phenomenal. Nothing's perfect in this world, but Reggie was a perfect human being. And with some of the things that he did off the field, who he was on and off the field was just remarkable. And when I think about the fact that the world doesn't have him now, the NFL doesn't have him now, the football world doesn't have him now, it's really heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
And it was heartbreaking for us, as players, and it's something that I thought about a number of times, because Reggie and I were somewhat close, and he was close to a lot of us.
Oh yeah.
And he was definitely a leader as well. He was one of those guys who got in your face as well. He wasn't quite like Seth.
I was gonna say
Didn't quite have the same vocabulary, but he was a guy that was that held you accountable as well.
Right. Oh yeah. And just amazing to see him just one arm throw a guy.
Yeah.
Bigger than him, just throw off to the side.
And it was confusing because Reggie got fined all the time for not lifting weights. He never lifted weights. All he did was drink coffee and eat donuts. and then he'll go out and play and just throw people all over the field.
Right.
And I eat a donut. I have to lose a couple times.
Any comments, questions? The show's winding down. I got a couple arms up back there in the room. Lauren?
All right, we got our first question.
It's not Eagle related, it's the NFL.
Sure.
What was your situation with the Saints, what they did at the end of the game last week against Atlanta? How they were setting up their victory formation, and because their running back didn't score a touchdown all year, and they decided to score a touchdown instead of taking the knee.
Well, from what I've heard, it was the quarterback who made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was his head coach, that would be a problem. And if I give you specifically a task or a play to run and you don't run that play, that's a problem for me. What should they do? I don't know. I don't know what I would do. But that's a problem. If you tell the quarterback to down the ball, you're up, 40 something. I can't remember what the score was, and you go ahead and score. That's a no-no for me.
So going off of that, how do you feel about A.J. Brown admitting that him and Jalen sort of run their own plays, opposite of what the coach is telling them to run?
Well, if I don't want to say if they're successful, but there are times when
your coach is
I'm not sure if the coach. Would you say that A.J. Brown said that?
Yeah, he
He said that him and Jalen would change up the play.
improvise.
Yeah, they would change it based on what the coach, I guess maybe reading the defense, they would change it though based on what they were told on.
If they've given the green light to do that, that's one thing. If they're not given the green light to do that, that's a problem. That's a problem. There have been a number of times where I can give you an example. There was a game that I think it was in 1993. We were losing to the Cleveland Browns 23-3 at halftime. And we came out the second half. Jim McMahon was our quarterback. We came out the second half, and Jim told Rich Kotite, here's what I'm going to do. Of course he told Rich Kotite.
That makes it good to change it something.
We're 45 minutes in. We finally got a Rich Kotite comment.
Jim told Rich Kotite, said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call 2 plays. And when I get to the huddle, when I get to the line, I'm going to say a color, and it's going to be 1 play, or I'm going to say a number, it's going to be the next play. So I say it to say, Jim called the whole second half. We won the game 28-23. And I say that to say sometimes coaches do give the players, especially the quarterback and receivers, the ability to change the play. And of course, if they tell you the quarterback, the coach tells you not to change the play, and you change the play, that's a problem.
Right.
But if he says, hey, look, if you see something and you think you can take advantage of it, you go ahead and do it. There are times when Randall and I mean, there was a running play, and from man to man, he thinks I can beat the guy, and I'm looking at him like, what's up? And there are a number of touchdowns where I had that wasn't my play. And Randall knew I could beat him. Or I'm winking at him like, no, let's do this. But that situation with the Saints in Atlanta, I think there's a respect involved where, if you beat the team bad, you just don't, which is why you don't throw the ball when you're up, you're up 40 to whatever. You kind of run the ball out. Just want the game to be over. If you could throw in a towel and say, hey, it's over, you can do that, but you have to finish the game out.
Yeah.
Questions, comments?
Anybody else?
This might be your,
Going.
yep, speak now or forever hold your drink.
Something like that. All right, we got a question over at the bar.
Do you think Seth Joyner will ever be a defensive coordinator?
I think you should be. I think, that's a great question. You know why? Because I'm not sure if today's coaching staff could handle that type of mentality. That guy who will tell a defensive back coach, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Here's what's needs to go.
Right.
I don't know if a coaching staff today could handle that mentality.
He'd have to.
But he could be. He could be. He should be.
That's what's wrong with the NFL.
Everybody's so timid today.
Right. Oh yeah.
Let me tell you, I did an intern with the Titans, and their coordinator at the time went over a play, and the adjustment of the play for the wide receivers put 2 wide receivers in a position to where they were not an option. And my question was, why would you not create options?
Right.
And they didn't bring me back. It was like, why on offense would you not create options? Why would you have 4 wide receivers running down the field, and based on the coverage, 2 of them not become an option? Why don't you change the route so all 4 will become an option?
Next year, Yannick kind of touched on that a little bit himself. I guess the Eagles do the same thing a little bit. Some guys just aren't there, and it just makes it easier for the quarterback to speed up his game.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking of, you got 4 guys and you have to hold it for that extra second, which is foolish, but it's just weird.
You always have to have options.
It's the the analytics, I think, is part of the problem. It's like dumbing down the game.
Yeah.
Trying to make it as simple as possible. Like, hey, we do this, this, and this, and we're going to win. Well, you still got to play the game.
Still gotta play, yeah.
The other team's going to do the same thing as well and stop you.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a philosophy of football today. It's just really different.
The mentality is different. I think, I mean, these guys they're all eating different stuff based on their weight. And, some guys are eating chicken, some guys are eating steak, some guys,
No donuts.
No donuts. We used to, away games, we had the rookies bring in fried chicken. And then we go and kick somebody's butt. And we come back home instead of you have to have a shake. You have to have so much protein in your shake, man. You gotta, spit on your hands and let's go.
Yep, exactly.
Final question from me. Do you follow other teams like this weekend, wild card playoff weekend? Are there games that you get excited about?
I wouldn't say get excited. I think, since I've been retired, I've done a lot of other things in life. My wife and I actually own an architectural firm. My wife is an interior designer. I own a whiskey business in Bermuda. Her company is out of Bermuda as well. She works with Bacardi. She's their corporate interior designer. So I say that to say I've dealt in a lot of different things, and no disrespect against the NFL or even what I did, but I was more of a guy who was competitive, and football was an outlet for me to be competitive. I'm competitive in everything. I mean, I was a basketball player before I was a football player. I was a high jumper before I was a football player. So I'm very competitive, and I was fortunate to have the skill set to play wide receiver in the NFL, which gave me the platform to be competitive.
Sure.
So to say that, I guess to answer your question, I love watching football, and I love watching competitive football. I like watching the best team win. I hate it when the team that doesn't supposed to win. But I find myself, of course, watching the Eagles, and for my cousin's sake, I watch Kansas City, and I grew up to some degree a Saints fan because I'm from Mississippi. So we either watched Dallas or the Saints. So there was, for some odd reason, I didn't become a Dallas fan.
Yep, exactly.
But I can say I do get excited about the game, especially now. It's because here's the thing, I think something crazy happens now.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Somebody's going to beat somebody that they don't supposed to beat. Like Dallas is going to lose to Green Bay.
There you go.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to beat, like Miami may beat Kansas City. Like, something's crazy going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the Eagles going to win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Something crazy going to happen. But yeah, I do like watching the playoffs, and when I have the time, I'm not traveling. My wife and I, kids travel a lot, and when there's a good competitive game on, I definitely tune in.
I got one question about your 95-yard touchdown. I was going to ask it after we asked the trivia question. How were you able to stay up on your feet after making that catch? Because you look like it was like a Hail Mary, and you were leaning back so far. Like I thought you were thinking you'd get hit.
I don't want to make it sound easy, but that's just routine for me. It's I'm a professional athlete.
No, I understand. It was just the way
it was easy. It was kind of routine for me, and I think a lot of guys could have made that catch. A lot of guys could have. A lot of quarterbacks could have did what Randall did.
Get out, right?
No.
Yeah.
But I think a number of wide receivers could have kept their eye on the ball and caught it.
Just the way you caught it, though, like you were reaching back so far, like you almost felt like you were bracing yourself that you were going to get hit, and like you almost like you were going to fall down, and you didn't.
Yeah, and it's what's called a bang bang play. It happens so fast.
Yeah.
And it's all reactionary. I don't want to say I could have easily dropped it, but there was a situation where, I was a rookie.
Right.
And, I'm on the field. I have to make a play.
Right.
So that was an opportunity for me to make a play. I wasn't going to turn it down.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
All right, if you're just joining us, our guest is Fred Barnett, and you missed a great show. What do you say, guys?
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, this was special, and I want to thank Bill Mattis for coordinating this with Fred, putting this together, being able to do it here at Hanrahan's. Again, we love coming here. The hospitality from Jimmy and his staff here is just phenomenal. Again, we're back here February 7th. We'll bring some awesome raffle prizes. I hope you guys are taking advantage of tonight. Laurie, what do you got? We're good? We're all good? Everybody's got all those questions answered? You guys are waiting on music bingo, right?
Music bingo.
Again, I want to personally thank Fred. I know John's excited, when we have football guests because he just eats and sleeps football. His mind doesn't stop. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. We'll draw raffles maybe around 8:15.
Yeah. John, did you ask him for some money for that polls?
No, I did not.
Lauren's stirring the
Lauren's
pot.
starting to bite.
Carson Wentz or Nick Foles?
What about both of them?
Both. He said both.
Both of them. Are we all there?
You can save that one for later.
All right, and then we got make sure everybody gets their fantasy football picks in. Today's the last day for the playoffs, so get everybody get their picks in. We got a good battle going here, and we got 70 people in it. We got a few actually new people coming in for the playoff part of it. So make sure you get your picks in, and so I don't have to keep bugging you anymore. And we'll be good to go.
One last piece of business from this fan's view to Emily and Henry, who are leaving us. How about a big hand?
Florida.
How about a big hand? They're friends, they're family. We all know them and love them. I wish them nothing but the best.
Absolutely.
If you guys are looking for a place to stay, I have their address. I'll give it to you, and you can go sleep with them. Because they got
This was the toughest part of leaving, was this show.
because they got this big old house that I don't know what these two people are going to do with. So I'm going to help fill it up. So
Apparently mom's going there.
that's good for me, right?
I wouldn't assume anyone else.
Again, Emily, Henry, the best of luck.
Absolutely.
Everything. You're a phone call away. Call John or Laurie. Don't call me. Again, Fred Barnett, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's been a great show. What a way to start the new year. Happy New Year to everybody. Take care of your
Happy New Year.
bartenders and waitresses, please. And we'll see you on the 7th.
Go Eagles.
All right.